Hello, and during question time, it really has been answer time here at Crimewatch. Welcome back to our 50th edition. We have what detectives call the crucial call in at least one case, and maybe two, and arrests are expected very shortly. Sue.
Well, we'll start with Photocall and David Hatcher. First of all, the man who's been robbing photographic shops, particularly one in Bootle.
Yes, indeed. Well, we've had 30 calls on this one, and they're still coming in, including a couple of prison officers who've given us the same name and said that this chap's been in their establishment. And we had somebody else call saying they think he opened a building society account with them yesterday.
Right. Our second caller was somebody called Stephen Norman, Photocall, who was wanted for questioning in connection with an attack on somebody at his mother's grave.
Yes, we think he may be able to help us. Well, we've had a dozen calls pinpointing a certain part of the country that we're following up calls there on now, and an address that's being checked out somewhere else now. So there's two possible prongs that are optimistic.
Right. What about the robbers at the jeweller's shop in Carlisle?
Yes, well, we've had half a dozen calls telling us where we can buy cheap Rolex watches, and remember £21,000 worth of Rolex watches were stolen in that job. And we've had another caller giving us names for the pictures that we showed you, and they're being followed up and hopefully will lead us to the robbers.
Nothing on the Grey Sierra?
No, not at the moment.
What about the man who attempted to rob a London building society and then, as he escaped, left a travel card on the floor?
Yes, he was very helpful, and indeed so have over 24 callers, including mostly police officers, prison warders again, and they've given us a number of names that are being followed up now, and we've got an inquiry being carried out at a prison again now.
David Hatcher, for the moment, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, now to the family held hostage in their own home as the gang prepared to rob a local bank. It happened in Kelvedon in Essex. The family was chained together with handcuffs, and the following morning the gang made their getaway with several £1,000s. The bank and the police are so concerned at the level of violence threatened. There's a huge reward on this one. Mike Ainsley, you seem pretty pleased with the calls you've had.
Yes, I am. It's been an excellent response. We've had over 70 calls with encouraging information. It depends upon work, obviously, to be done, but I'm very pleased indeed.
Some of the stuff I was seeing, the calls seem to link together. For example, names of people who had knowledge of guns, who also had a gold Mercedes, which is a vehicle that featured in the crime, and that might have been in that same area at the same time.
Several calls have been of this type, yes, very encouraging.
During the reconstruction, we held back on quite a lot of detail. It was a fairly frightening raid, anything that happens in people's homes when there's an attack, but perhaps we ought to point out to help fill in the picture. The gunmen didn't just have one gun, as we showed in the reconstruction.
No, they didn't. They had two sawn-off shotguns, a rifle with a silencer attached to it, and also a stun gun.
OK, we've got descriptions of those three men, and we've had a lot of names, as you say, on those. There's a huge reward, £25,000 with the normal conditions attached to it. Thanks very much, Sue.
Well, Aladdin's Cave next, our treasure trove of property held this month by Derbyshire Police, and some of which may have been yours. Let's see what's happened. In fact, you might remember this lovely Victorian music box with the rose inlaid on the wood. It's got a repertoire of songs, including the Blue Danube, and a local man in Buxton thinks he recognises this and thinks it might be his, or he might know whose it is, so we're checking that one out. On the ivory carvings, as Eric Knowles said, you almost feel guilty holding an ivory carving, knowing an elephant lost its life. But this is inscribed with Thomas E. Wilson, and several people, in fact, have laid claim to this, including a woman in Richmond who thinks maybe it was belonging to her father, so perhaps it's a set. We'll be checking those out anyway. The silver salver, inscribed Beatrice and Joe, 50 golden years. Again, somebody thinks they might know who that belongs to, so we're checking that out. And the Victorian silver-plated table lamp with a monogram, Lark Hill Convent in Preston have identified the monogram, they think, as HCJ, Holy Child of Jesus. So quite a few things there.
Well, now Jean Kempton, a mother from Brixton in South London, who disappeared after spending the afternoon drinking in a local pub.
I'm out of the game.
2 weeks later, Jean's body was discovered over 100 miles away in Suffolk. Sean Saunders, in contrast to the previous detective, you've looked rather glum this evening.
Yes, I'm a bit disappointed with the response. We've had about 40 calls, but some of that may be due to technical difficulties we've had with the phones at the incident room at Ipswich. The number now to call is 0473 611 611, We haven't had a great deal of response to the vehicles that we mentioned earlier.
OK, that was a blue van that was seen near where her body was found, and a white car, both seen very, very close to her. And really you want to eliminate those vehicles?
Yes, we're after the drivers of those so that we can, if they are unconnected, to eliminate them and get them out of the way. The same too with the screams that were mentioned earlier as well.
OK, just remind us of the dates.
The van was seen on the afternoon of Sunday the 5th of February, and the saloon car was seen on the morning of Monday the 6th of February.
About 9:30 in the morning, and the screams were heard about 11:30. Could have been people romping around.
Yes.
So still a long way to go on that one.
Oh yes.
Thank you. Sue.
Well, next on Merseyside, a truck driver was kidnapped at gunpoint, bundled into the back of a van and held prisoner while his vehicle was stolen. Well, Mike Williams and his colleagues have been taking the calls. Have you had many useful ones?
We've had an amazing response. We had a call about the trailer heading towards Stockport in Manchester at 3 a.m. that
You mean
morning.
the lorry cab itself?
Yeah, no, the trailer.
Oh, the trailer?
Yes. There's a red car behind it, and in the car there's a man with fur hair and glasses.
Right.
Numerous calls which all have to be followed up, but a lot about the cigarettes. But I'd like to stress all the video equipment is all Ferguson.
Right. So if anybody thinks they know about equipment that may have been stolen from that load, to ring their local police because they have all the serial numbers. And it's cameras, camcorders, and it's all Ferguson.
All Ferguson
Right.
equipment.
Any other sightings? Anything about the lorry cab?
No sightings of the lorry cab, no.
Has anybody recognised either of the people seen in the two cars parked behind the trailer in South Lane?
We've had a number of calls about the video fit, which we'll be following up in the next day.
Right. They need to be eliminated from your inquiries?
They do, yes.
Right, the calls are still coming in, so I'll let you get back to them. Thank you very much.
Well, now what about the 3 crimes we covered in Incident Desk? Here's David Hatcher. Let's start with that really horrible attack on a prostitute in Bristol, which could have turned out, really could have been murderous.
Yes, she was very lucky to have escaped. Well, we've had 4 possible names suggested for that video fit that we showed you on this particular case. And we've had another caller, anonymous caller, giving us a name. We'd like that caller, please get in touch with us again. We need to speak to you and get more details to be able to pinpoint the man that you've given us the name of.
Then there was an extraordinary attack on in a South London street. Patrick Byrne was hit on the head. For no apparent reason, he had an argument with somebody. We don't know why. He was killed.
That's right. Well, we've had callers again call in with names suggested for the video fit that we showed you in that case. And we've had another man call in who says he too has been threatened in the same area by a guy with a piece of wood. So that may give us other clues to tie in with that very serious crime. OK,
and the robbery in Manchester where a woman was robbed as she went to park her car near her home.
Yes, well, we've featured a watch in that particular case. This is the one, to be precise.
She grabbed that off one of her assailants.
Indeed she did. Well, a man has called saying he thinks that his 82-year-old father was burgled and this is his father's watch. That could be a vital clue in the chain to lead us to the offenders. And we've had asked to reappeal on the inscription. Inside this there is an engraving by a repairer, watch repairer. Who did that engraving? Please contact us urgently if it was you or you know who might have done it.
OK, David, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for tonight. The phones are closing down here now, but we'll show you a list of local relevant numbers in a moment on your screen. Or you can write to us if you like at Crimewatch UK, BBC TV, London W12 7RJ. We'll be back tomorrow on Open Air at 11:30 with any information that comes in overnight.
And we'll be back a month from now on Thursday, June the 8th. It's been an eventful and with your help a very successful first 5 years of Crimewatch. Do join us next month for, I hope, an equally eventful and successful start to the next 5 years. Meanwhile, don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.